So there's two types of men that will often find themselves in the realm of shadow work. Either you are a very sensitive man, somewhat sensitive, you identify as highly sensitive. The sensitive male is often left to disassociate from the negative feelings in their body and go up into their head to try and logically create like either the life that they want, the dating scenario that they want, the relationship that they want, and this doesn't work because authentic masculinity is found in embodiment. You must be in your body. But for the sensitive man, for him to be in his body, it requires an intense amount of shadow work. Shadow work, all that means is like you're looking at the dark side of you. And it's often emotionally and potentially even physically quite uncomfortable. So a lot of men avoid it and they keep trying to become somebody that they're not via their head instead of the embodiment. The other type of man that often I have found that finds themselves in the realm of shadow work, needing to look at all of their demons and work with them. See, I get excited about this because like I love working with all of the demons because the alchemy of the shadow work is fucking art. It is art. It is uniqueness. It is like amazing. So the other type of man is the man who is not as sensitive and he's actually able to remain embodied while not looking at his shadow, while not looking at his negative emotions, and he's fine. And he can actually accomplish a lot in life. And he thinks he's fine until usually midlife, but not always. This is the trend that I found. He gets hit by a cosmic 2x4, I call these, or like the rug gets pulled out from under him. So something big happens, either an addiction, a divorce, a massive relationship ending. What else? A massive career change, like something that is shocking to the nervous system enough where he goes like, oh, hang on, what I knew before isn't working now. I actually can't just like man up. I can't just keep moving through this. And he's actually forced to look inside. So sort of similar, both situations, the man is forced to look inside as a means of really embodying his authentic masculinity, because in both of those scenarios, the man is not embodying his authentic masculinity. And authenticity is the sexiest thing on the planet. When you are truly authentic, you're also truly embodied. And attraction exists as like a mammalian sense in the body. And so you actually must, as a man, be exuding that confidence and embodiment, right? Like fake confidence won't work. You can't just take up more space. I mean, there's all these different like body language tips and tricks, right? They don't actually work if your subconscious, which is your body, is not on board with confidence. All of that to say, shadow work is like the missing key. It's like the next step for a man to embody his masculinity. And what I find with shadow work, and why that the way I've created this shadow work for men, why it's different than just like generic shadow work, is because generic shadow work it's a little bit of like a feminine principle. It's like you're taking your awareness, you're going inside, and then inside there's all of these feelings that you might know what to do with. And it can feel like you can maybe get lost in them. Or a lot of people fear like, well, if I start to feel my grief from the past or my rage from childhood or this trauma that happened from childhood that I never really dealt with, or a breakup, or, whatever it is for you that you haven't looked at, there's often a fear for a man that if he looks inside, it'll either feminize him or that he'll get lost and stuck in it, and then he'll never be able to feel that masculinity ever again. Obviously, none of those are true, but because those are common fears for men, I've bookended, is bookended a word? I've bookended the shadow work with two really important steps so that you don't get lost in it, and so that you actually can use the opening of that shadow work, because that's what it is. It's like you're opening your neurology, and you use that opening to actually create instant change in your life. So you're seeing the results really, really quickly. When you do this work the way that I'm teaching it, you are taking apart neurological pathways that are not serving you and creating new neurological pathways, setting that on automatic, and then going back into your life. So this isn't just like a woo-woo concept of shadow work. This is a very clinical process. And the first step is to set the stage. By setting the stage, all I mean is that you are actually creating the beginnings of the neural pathways of where you're headed. because who you are right now in your life as a man is essentially a conglomeration of all of your past neural pathways that have been used over and over and over again. And if you are alive, which you are right now listening to it, there's a part of your subconscious mind that's like, cool, if those neural pathways worked, then I might as well keep using them because clearly I'm still alive. And so they work good enough. So without actually creating new neural pathways, you will subconsciously, on automatic, you cannot willpower yourself out of this. You will keep repeating the same mistakes. You will keep running through those old pathways. So you have to create the new pathways. The new pathways exist as neurological potential in your nervous system. All that means is like you're wired one particular way. Your awareness runs through these particular pathways every single day, day after day, whether you realize it or not, whether you think it's a new day or not. And so because your nervous system could actually be rewired in any way, like you could reach your hands in there and take this wire and connect it with this wire that's for confidence, and this one for attractivity, and this one for more money, and this one for more whatever, like whatever it is that you want, you can connect those neural pathways in any way that you want. But because they exist as potential, you have to access creativity. The best way to access your creativity and step out of the box of who you've been is to use hypnosis. Because what hypnosis does is it just slightly alters your brainwave state so that you actually have the agency to reach your hands into your nervous system and start connecting things the way that you want it to be connected. I do have a free masterclass that goes into these steps in far more detail, and there is a hypnosis in that masterclass. So I'll put that masterclass in the description and then probably like somewhere in the comments as well. I'll pin it to the top so it's super easy to access. But when you start creating those new neural pathways, you're giving your automatic function of who you are as a man a chance to actually run a different program, because who you are right now that got you to this point is not going to be the same version of you that is living the life that you want to be living, deeply embodied in your masculinity. It's actually a different version of you. So that's setting the stage. The next step that you have to do in terms of shadow work is you must look at the unwanted pathways and disconnect them. It's like breaking the road so that the cars can't drive there anymore. You break the old pathways by, in a very particular way, bringing your awareness to the shit and the discomfort, the traumas from your past that are holding you back because your body is holding on to those traumas. Your body is holding on to limiting beliefs. Your body is holding on to addictions. Your body is holding on to people-pleasing tendencies, to nice guy syndrome, to repelling the things that you want. It sounds counterintuitive, but your body is holding on to those because it believes it's doing so for your benefit. And I get it that sounds like, why would I ever hold on to something like an addiction? Because to a conscious part of you, that does not make sense. And to a subconscious part of you, which is 95% of who you are, it's holding on to it for some positive intention. And until you bring your awareness to the positive intention and you meet that intention and you get that need met, or you set that boundary or whatever it is in a useful way, then and only then, the addiction, the people-pleasing tendency, the unwanted belief systems, then those can drop. So many times people miss the point because they're like trying to do positive affirmations over and over again, or they're just trying to manifest what they want, or they're trying to skip this really shadowy step because they think that they can just willpower their way through it. You cannot, sorry. Your subconscious is wildly powerful and also wildly insistent on keeping the things that have kept you alive, and therefore will keep the patterns and behaviors that has kept you alive until now. Now, within this shadow work step, the point is not to just bring your awareness to your negativity and like sit in it or wallow in it or just kind of like access it and then keep going with your life. There is a very particular process where you access the inner gold. So if you imagine your negative emotions, all of that shadowy stuff inside of you, that's really inside of everyone, as bubble wrap, and in the midst, the very core of that bubble wrap is gold. And that gold is one of three things. It's either an unmet need, a repressed truth or a desire, or a boundary. And that gold is sitting there. This is like your authenticity. You cannot get to that gold until you take your hands and you fiercely and courageously and with fun, if you decide to do it with me because I like to have fun, and you bring all of that to the bubble wrap, which is just your awareness, and you unwrap that bubble wrap, right? So you're going somewhere. This is why it's shadow work for men, because you're activating your dopamine system. You are headed somewhere. You're not just doing shadow work because you're like trying to be a fucking female, okay? You're doing shadow work because you're getting somewhere. You're unwrapping that bubble wrap. You're going through the uncomfortable sensations. You get to the gold. The second you get to the gold, you're done. You take the gold, and then that becomes a part of who you are, and you move forward with that. So again, there is a very particular way to do shadow work, especially if you are a man and you want it to actually change your life, and you're not just trying to become like more emotional or, like get lost in your emotions. Which leads me to the third and final very, very, very important step. And again, most people miss this one, is that once you've gotten to that gold, it's almost like if you've done the first two steps, you've created the new neural pathways, you've made the other pathways disappear, the ones that you don't like, you've disconnected them. Then the third step is that because our external life is always a reflection of how we're wired on the inside. Okay, stick with me. If you've just rewired yourself on the inside, then because 3D physical life changes slower, like you could rewire things in 2 seconds, but your life is not going to destroy or destruct or change in 2 seconds, right? Like the physicality of your life. But if you've rewired yourself on the inside, then when you're done rewiring and you look around, you're going to be viewing your old life, but your insides are going to be rewired completely differently. You do not want to be in that space for very long, because that's going to cause like a relapse into your old self. So the third and final step is you must take action on how you are hardwired differently on the inside. And the action must disrupt one of your 5 senses, ideally your visual sense. This could just be as simple as like rearranging furniture. I have a ton more examples in my free video masterclass, Unleash Your Masculinity, that I was talking about. If you want to take it a step further after that and you get the paid program, then you also get my ebook, Secrets of Subconscious Reprogramming, which I have like a shit ton of ideas of how to actually lock in this change. But it has to disrupt one of your 5 senses, because what that does is if you change on the inside and you change on the outside, you're forcing your neurology into a locked position change. You're forcing your neurology to literally level up and then keep it there in a way that does not require willpower, because willpower is a finite resource, meaning it's like a tank of gas. And once you're out for the day, you're out. You can't willpower your way through everything. I hope that is helpful. Again, if you want like a more expanded version and the free hypnosis, go ahead and watch my free video, Unleash Your Masculinity. That's going to like break it down for you. And it just gives you a lot more information to really put this in practice into your life and then experience a better life. And then make sure you subscribe to my channel for all kinds of information on men's shadow work, men's inner work, masculinity, and then also really fun topics like dating and body language and how to use that for all kinds of fun and playful reasons. Okay, I love you.